So today I wanted to talk about this comment that I saw on one of my previous videos. It goes like this. It says, "Great video. It definitely pays to have a conference budget because some conferences are better than others. I have heard of people just going to find someone in tech. I would love to see another video on how to attend conferences and ways to attend without breaking the bank." So I got this video comment on the video where I was talking about trying to find love at these tech conferences. And I had some people commenting saying like, "Hey, yeah, I've gone to a few conferences to holler at some of the women." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm kind of guilty myself. I ain't gonna lie to you." And really, because they do be bad at the conferences, cannot lie to you. There's another perk of going to a conference or a tech conference. But what I will tell you guys is that when you're trying to go to a conference in order to meet people that you wouldn't normally meet, learn new things, and then also be able to go and pick the brain of industry leaders. You can find you a mentor and or do on-site job interviews, and they have job hirings. So I wholeheartedly think that it is worth it for people to go to conferences, to go to networking events, even outside of just trying to find someone. You can get a lot of opportunity. And that's just how business is run or conducted, is that you have to go up and meet a lot of people to be able to gain leads, clients, opportunities. When you're in tech, that's how you meet people for job opportunities. Is a whole bunch of different benefits that you'll receive, right? But if you are trying to come up with a conference budget, what I would always suggest is, I don't suggest people go into debt just to go to a conference. What I would suggest is get tapped in with a lot of the workforce development organizations. Google invests heavily into scholarships for people to be able to go to conferences. They give you a free ticket to go. Ticket could cost $1,000, $2,000. Google, I have seen them have several different programs, so that way you can go and get a scholarship. There are a lot of other community partners that you can get tickets from as well, completely paid for tickets. So that way you don't have to pay at all to go to the conference, except for maybe if you are getting a ticket for a conference that is out of state. Another way that you can get a free ticket is if you apply to be a speaker and they give you the opportunity to be a speaker at the conference. All right, so that is another great way. Another good way to get a free ticket to a conference is to be a volunteer. You can get, and you don't have to like volunteer the whole day. You have certain shifts, and you can volunteer and still go off and then enjoy the conference, in addition to having the opportunity to meet some of the organizers of the conference. So volunteering is also a very good way to get a free ticket. Another good way is to become an ambassador. So if you have a social media following, you don't even have to have a lot of followers, but you can apply to be an ambassador for a tech conference, and then you'll most likely get a ticket for that conference. So if you are an ambassador, I can't say you most likely will, you will get a ticket for most of the tech conferences that I've seen. So those are just some of the ways of getting free tickets to go. But as far as getting the money together to go to a conference, is I would always suggest that you have a job and or business that allows for you to have cash flow. What do I mean by cash flow is that after you have your income and you pay all your expenses, whatever left over is considered your cash flow. So if you have cash flow or any overflow, then I would suggest putting that into a separate high interest savings account, so that way you can actually save up the money to be able to afford to go to these conferences. Now, let's say you don't get a free ticket, all right? Because sometimes it's a lottery, and sometimes it's not a lottery in that they give a free ticket to whoever just applies. And as long as you apply before a specific deadline, you'll be able to get a free scholarship or a ticket. And then also they have a lot of discounts as well that could be off $300 off of a $500 ticket. So you'd only have to pay $200 compared to the whole $500. So you do have some discounts and savings as well. But going back to the savings account, is if you put together a budget so that way you can have cash flow, meaning that you look at your expenses and you just say, okay, here's a list of all the people I owe money, and here's the amount of money I'm making. If you are in the green, meaning that you have some cash flow, whatever cash flow for anything like that, that's not an expense, or if you have like your savings for your emergency fund, I would suggest for people to, if you want to be able to create a conference budget, put your money into a bank account that could help you to save money that is separate from your checking account, right? So any discretionary spending that you have. But I do have to give the disclaimer is that I am not a certified financial planner or a certified professional in finance. So I would highly suggest, because this is not a personal finance YouTube channel, but I will say this is how I was able to get like conference tickets if I did ever have to pay. And then also that's how I was able to save up for a house, right? By following that method. But before you listen to me, I would always suggest for you to reach out to a certified financial planner or someone who is a certified professional in finance. So just want to get that disclaimer before anybody says, oh, you told people to save their money, right? For a budget. So, just wanted to bring that up. But yeah, that's how I will go about creating a budget for a conference. There are a lot of different avenues. And also, you may get even further discounts as well, because when it gets closer to the conference date, there are a lot of people who cannot attend. So what you'll have to do is check to see if somebody can sell you the ticket for even cheaper. That also happens as well, to where the tickets are extremely cheap because somebody can't fly out or they have some other obligations and they can't go, and they can transfer that ticket over to you. That is another really good way of being able to save for a conference. Okay, so conferences on average go between $300 to $700, and they can go even further. The most amount of money for a conference that I've been to was Google Cloud Next, and the conference ticket was around $2,000. So saving up $2,000, like, it doesn't sound like a lot, but $2,000 liquid cash ready to go specifically for the purposes of going to a conference, and then you may have to fly out and pay for food. It can easily go from $2,000 to $5,000 to $6,000 just based off of travel and food expenses, right? Let alone anything fun, anything else that would really run your bank. So I would always suggest that you Look at your personal financial situation with a professional. Okay, so hopefully that helped some people out there. I wouldn't suggest spending a lot of money if you do need to leverage. So I never feel like you ever need to. It's not that serious to go to a conference to where you have to take out a payment plan, and then you kind of run the risk of missing a payment. I'm gonna tell you guys, I got on the payment plan one time with BrandsMart, and I was paying down the payment plan, and the last payment didn't go through because I had my card locked or something like that, something to that extent, and I missed that payment for like 1 to 2 days, and then I looked at my account. Oh, I missed the payment. I went to go pay it. They charged me $80. And I owed $80. They charged me another $80. So I was like, dang, you doubled how much I had to pay? Let me go ahead and pay this off right now, immediately. But that's just as an example of how predatory a lot of these pay-as-you-go, buy now, pay later type of companies are. Is you want to make sure that you are actively paying down that debt. You cannot make any misses. You cannot make any mistakes. I remember Amex also has something similar where you can pay down a specific debt. And I remember I got that, and it for some reason I had a balance on my account, and I was paying the balance down. But then that separate charge that I did, like with the payment plan, the separate payment plan did not get touched. So I'm paying down the principal, and I paid down the balance, and then the other payment plan had charged me an interest fee, and the interest was crazy. It was like $100. I said, what? it was some absolutely crazy. Amex has some feature like that. So that's why I tell people, like, hey, look, if you go into debt for a conference, I'm like, it's just really not that serious. I would always suggest, before you even go into debt for something and try to pay to go to a conference out of your own money, I would always suggest checking out your local networking events on apps like Meetup, Luma, Eventbrite. There are so many different meetup events and networking events that's going on in many different areas. So I would always suggest checking those out, and you may meet somebody who could get you a free ticket to go. So with that being said, guys, hopefully that was helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And also hit that bell notification icon if you want to be notified whenever I make new videos on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. See you all in the next video. Do not forget to build your billions.